Okay, boys and girls, what do we have here? Well, on the left you see the Astro Physics 1100 GTO equatorial mount, and on the right is the Astro Physics 1600 GTO equatorial mount. Now the 1100 I received on November the 10th of 2015, just prior to them announcing their new gearboxes. And the 1600 I just received August the 27th, 2018. Now that little thing you see in the center, that long-haired rat, that's actually Moose. Moose! She just wanted to be in the picture today, so... But anyways, we're just going to show the differences between these two. Obviously, the size difference, which I was kind of surprised. I didn't really expect that. I guess, you know, I've never seen one in person. And there's some differences, other things, the way they do it. And, you know, I don't see anything on the internet where if somebody's contemplating buying one of them, what they're really like. And I always like to sometimes research things. So this way, anybody that might be wanting to get one, or just the curiosity of seeing the differences, I thought I'd do this video. Moose, you gonna help me? Yeah, I guess not. So just a little bit of background, and then this is from Astro Physics website. The 1100, the weight of the RA axis is 27.6 pounds. The 1600 RA axis is 63.7. The declination axis on the 1100 is 15.6. The deck axis weight on the 1600 is 40.0. The deck cap on the 1100 is 1.5 pounds. On the 1600, the deck cap is 3 pounds. The stated capacity, approximate capacities, are given as the 1100, 110 pounds. And I believe they always say that does not include counterweights. And the 1600 capacity approximate is 220, again, not including counterweights. Okay, here you can see the relative height differences. Quite a bit more mass there to the 1600 than the 1100. I do have the saddle on the 1100 on the deck cap. I took it off of the 1100. So this is the bottom of the deck axis. This is what adjusts your azimuth when you're aligning to the North Pole. And this is the bubble level, which is the same on the 1600. And you've got these little, I'm not sure what they call those, but you can use that to pull back and forth the mount in azimuth as you're push-pulling with these. And the 1100 has a round base. Now the 16, on the other hand, has more of a kind of a rectangular base, longer front to back, narrower side to side. It's got the same little pins here, obviously stainless steel. And here we have the bubble level. As we head around to the back, we see the mechanism, and these work butter smooth. So as you turn this one counterclockwise, turn that one clockwise, this is how you move back and forth on this base, again, to set the azimuth. And once you're there, just turn one side and the other, so that way they both push against each other here. Here you have the 1600. Same principle. Now this is looking at the north side of the 1100 deck axis. This is the captain's wheel that you use to adjust your latitude, well, basically altitude. And here you see where this big stainless steel piece fits in these various notches that allow you to go from various, I think the maximum is 78 degrees if I recall, 0 to 78. So this is the 1100. Now we go over here to the 1600, same basic setup, although obviously more stout here. This is bigger stainless steel pin that goes in here in the same principle. So let's take a look at the CP4s. Now the one that came with the 1100 is in the AP white color, whatever cream, I'm not sure what they call that, but it's in there. I'm going to call it white. And I've got it on its holders, so that's why it stands up a little taller. And I'll show you how the 1100 is. The 1100 doesn't require that, or the 1600. I'm sorry, the 1600 doesn't require that. It's built into the mount. And this is the one that came with the 1600. And I thought, well, hell, I remember in the beginning when they came out with these, the Mach 1s were going to be black. So I thought, well, damn, they sent me the wrong one. So anyways, after emailing, Roland said that it became too much of an issue trying to keep track of the different colors, and so he kept them all black. And I'll be honest, I like the black. It complements the black. There's more of the white on the mount, so the black, I like it. So I really like the color choice. Either way, it would have been fine with me, but I do like the black. So now there is a difference the way the CP4 mounts on the 1100 here that you see on the left versus the 1600. Now, I do have a 1-inch extension. When this was on my 12-inch tripod, the way it was set, and I have a video on that on my group, on my YouTube channel, but so I have a 1-inch extension. And what normally they did is this piece, as you can see, you would just have these very small cap screws here that would go through here, and then every time you took it apart, you'd have to, you know, unloosen it. I came up with a way, and I show it on one of my videos on my YouTube channel. These are solid, okay? I don't like screwing with little things as much as possible at night. So basically, all I do is just like that, and it stays. I can take it off at the end of the night, and there it is. But anyways, no matter whether you do it this way or the other way, that's the way that mounts on the 1100. Now, as you can see here, this is the west side of the 1600, and they literally have these little brackets built in. So when you want to put that on, there you go. Now this is the west side. I neglected to say that on the 1100, the CP4 sits on the south side of the deck axis. But this is really cool. I like it. So now let's look at how we connect the CP4 and the 1100. So now you can go internal. I don't do it that way, so I'm just going to show you how I did it. But in any event, with the 1100, you had cables. You had a Y cable. Okay, you would connect it to the CP4 for the motors, where the motor connector is. Come up, and you'd put the one in the back of the motor here for the RA axis. Then the other one would come up and go into the deck axis motor here. So now with the 1600, it's a totally different system. When I received the mount, I got home late, and I didn't even open up the packages for the RA or deck access boxes. I just opened up the one box that I knew would be all the accessories, and I saw one cable. I thought, what the hell? So I called George the next day. He said, nope, that's what it is. Of course, if I would have opened it up and I would have seen how the deck access was, I would have known right away. But in any event, so it's just got this one cable. So on the CP4 of the 1600, you take the cable, put it into the motor connector that comes out, and this is cool. It just goes right into the back of the back side of the RA axis, and that's it. That's the only really exposed cable. So this is the back side of the RA axis, the south side, and you'll note that a cable does come out here and plugs into the RA motor box, and that's all internal. It just comes out through here and here, so it actually connects down here at the base and comes out. So that's the only part that's external, and I'm sure this just comes off for maintenance purposes or something. So that's how that is handled on this. And this is the cap on the back where the polar scope would go. You can see the a circuit board here. That green, that's actually a circuit board that cabling connects to. Now this is the deck axis. Okay, this, I took the front cap off that you would, the sight through cap for your polar scope, and this is the motor housing, and it's the same setup as the RA axis. Cable comes out and right into the motor box. Okay, so the question becomes, well, if the RA and deck axis separate, just how do you connect the two? And this is what's really interesting. I've taken the top deck cap off to let some light in. Back in here, you can almost see the wire right here. And I'll pull it out. You want to be careful, like they say in the manual. So this cable is the one that is in the RA axis. You pull it out like that, and you would connect it right here. And I believe this is for encoders. I think that's for encoders. Of course, I don't need them, so I won't have that. But then you would just screw that right in here. Now, obviously, it's very important before you pull this off that you disconnect it, because George said you do some damage. So you want to make damn sure at the end of your run you disconnect that. Now it does have this little caution here, but I think I'm going to make a big tag, because I'm going to I bought an extra cap. Bought an extra one of these caps that I'm going to drill a quarter 20. I'm going to drill put a quarter 20 in the center and use it for my electronic polar scope. So I ordered another one of those, and between this cap and the adapter that you saw, that red thing on the 1100, I'm going to make a big laminated tag, I think, that comes down here in big letters, and just, you know, to remind me, because I'm not used to it. But I think once you do it every now, you know, you'll know. So what you got to do is you've got to take your counterweight adapter off. This is the counterweight adapter. Look how beautifully machined that is. Even the inside of that is butter smooth. Just really nice finishing. They've got it drilled out to save weight. So here you see I've connected it right here. So this is the looking down the RA axis. I took the deck off. Here you see that cable that goes down, and something that I do, and I forget what they call this piece right here, but I use it, and I stick that in there. What I find that does for me is, without that, I was finding that this cable was sliding down too far, but with that in, It allows me then, when I'm done, to stick it back in here, and it sticks out just enough that I can get my hand up in here through the opening on the deck axis and pull this out. Otherwise, like I said, this is just something I found. And here we're looking down in there, and you can see the board. You see that connector there to your upper left. See where the wires are? You can see where this cable's connected there. See how that's wire tied to the board. And then down there to the immediate left is where the encoder would connect. Okay, these are the RA axes. The 1100 is on the left, 1600 is on the right. We're looking at the north side. Just this kind of shows you the differences, internal, size-wise, and just some of the machining that's different. The way it's designed is different. Okay, this is just a close-up of the same thing. Okay, before I get off these right ascension axes, I want to show the different gearboxes. As I said earlier, the 1100 here, I received November 10th to my home, November 10th, 2015. This one was delivered to my home last Monday, August the 27th, 2018. Today, I'm doing this video, it is Sunday, September the 2nd, 2018. So, as you can tell, there's nothing over here, and you see something there. So here you see the cover that comes off, and if you note, what's really cool is look at that. It's got these little machined notch in there on both sides as a grip for your hand when you pull it off. And I thought, well, how the hell does that thing hang on there? Because you can feel that there's something catching it. And if you look here, I'm not sure how well this will show up, but right up in here on the other side of this post, and this is all machined in, this is all one piece machined, those two little posts in there. On this side of this post and on the opposite side of the other post are little machined, oh, I don't know, just little machined divots in there. Okay, so there's one on this side, there's one on that side. And what happens is when you push it in here, there's like a little, probably a spring-loaded ball bearing or something spring-loaded that catches this side of the post, and the other one catches this side. Very interesting. I thought it was ingenious. Okay, so you can see that little tab there, that little shiny piece there, and on the opposite side you see it, the bottom one you see it on the opposite side. So those are what actually catches to hold that cover on. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate the new motor covers. So right now, this is a 1600 mount. I've got the clutches fully loose. I've got my 175 F8 on here. So now I'll pull the cover. Disengage, you'll see the motor housing pull up right there. You can feel it kind of just lock. Click here. Now it's free. Very nice. It is. It does make it so damn simple. Once you initially get a setting where it needs to be, and you can see the gear in there moving. And just get it back here, and then gently bring it down. Okay, so you're looking at the right ascension axes. They're laying down on their west side. So the west side is to the table. The south side is to the left. There's the south. There's the south over here on the 1100. This is the 1600. This shows you the differences in the bases, the major differences, how it's handled in each one. Here, it's open for the azimuth adjuster when you're adjusting to the pole. Okay, you can kind of see these push-pull. Here's that block that when you loosen this and move that way or that way, and then just lock it down once you get it. Here you don't see it on the 1100. So that's why I'm doing this video. If somebody's contemplating buying one of these and you know, they cost a bit of money and you don't know, sometimes I like to see what things are before I get them. I've never seen any videos that compare these two. And it's just nice to see how they build them. If nothing else, you're just curious as to how AP's building them. Okay, and these are the deck axes, 1100, 1600. You see the major difference in size here. And of course, this is the north. You're looking at the counterweight shafts. Now these both take the same diameter counterweight shafts, and by chance they give you this long ass counterweight shaft, which I can see if you got a big scope and you need a lot of counterweights. But the one that came with my 1100 actually works beautiful, and I'm using it on my 1600. So the same length that came with the 1100 I'm using on the 1600, and I'm able to use it fine with my Astro Physics 175 f8. So if I can go with the shorter one, that's what I'm using now on the 1600 instead of the stock one. Okay, so here you see the counterweight shaft. In the foreground is the stock one that ships with the 1100. It is 13 inches long from flange to flange, and then you have to add the thread length. And the stock one that comes with the 1600 here is 22 inches. And as I said, I was able to use this with my 175, so I'm using that. Now my original intent was to sell the 1100 when I got the 1600. But upon receiving the 1600, it's just so much bulkier. I don't have an observatory, although I have a spot chosen for the center of the pier, if I ever do it. But I'm going to hold off and think about it a while and keep that 1100. If I ever do sell the 1100, I'll just order another one of these counterweight shafts for it to use on the 1600. But again, there's 62 pounds difference between the stated weights on Astro Physics site. The total difference between the 1100 and the 1600 is going to be 62 pounds. So, and you see the mass, the size of each part in the total unit. I don't know that I'd call that extremely portable. It is, but it's not quite the same as this 1100. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, I thought it'd be interesting to show the various base plate sizes of the equatorial mounts AP has. These are the flat surface adapters. This one's already been mounted. This is the 1600. It's been mounted on the 12-inch portable pier tripod. This is the 1100, what used to be mounted to this for the 1100 equatorial. And then this inside one is the size of the base plate, the flat surface adapter for the Mach 1.